worry about things. Every little thing is gonna be alright. Good and be kind.
Writer and musical performer Zach Bryan says in one of his songs, a poem actually, I am loyal to a fault to anyone I find kindness in. I would say that's how I am, slightly naive and trying to see the best in everyone. Although I am becoming a bit jaded, kindness is something I've taught my kids since they could speak. Every day when they leave the house, it's the last thing they would hear from me is have fun, be kind. Kindness is a word that's written on posters and pictures at HomeSense. It's stitched into pillows. It's in memes and these quotes that are so moving and fancy on Instagram. But when it comes to actually living out kindness, it's become a different world. And I see it in almost every space in my life. Today, we picked up my son from school after a bullying incident. He had been physically and verbally bullied, in which he's been several times since starting school in the BC public school system. The principal at his current school is fantastic, and she's doing everything that she can to address this issue. It is a much larger issue than what a principal can do, or even what a teacher can do. It's a system and a community and a culture. And we have become a culture really of unkindness. That's how I feel as of late. With the opioid and substance mental health crisis, health emergency that's been going on for years, the division that I see makes no sense to me as what is more precious, what is more valuable than a human life. Yet daily we're losing 6 to 7 people in British Columbia alone to the drug emergency, and we're still debating about the solution. Instead of stopping the deaths while we have the debate, we continue to let mothers lose their sons and brothers lose their sisters, brothers lose their brothers, sisters lose their sisters, children lose their parents. Homelessness, we all think we're so far from it. I recently wrote a piece for the Surrey Now and Black Press Media about an incident near my home where our family set up a play tent while our children played for a couple hours, and the neighbors would come by and look on suspiciously, and eventually a woman approached us and asked if the tent was ours, and I answered that yes, it was, but it was just there for play and it would be gone in a couple of hours. And my husband joked that we were moving in, and I said, he's kidding. And the woman said, oh, you don't look like that kind, that type. And I said in the written piece, what does that type look like? Because, we're all a couple of bad decisions away from a space we never thought we'd be in. And if you think that you're immune to it, I'm so sorry to say that you're wrong. Things can happen in this world, in your employment, with your health, your family members, your mental health that can come unexpectedly. And there seems to be a lack of compassion for those who are living without a home. There seems to be this, I wouldn't even say stigma or stereotype at this point. It's more like dehumanizing those who are homeless, those who are using substances, those who have mental health challenges that we see. And as we know, they are not just in communities like the downtown east side, but they fill all communities, all cultures, all backgrounds, all professions, which leads me to the next space of unkindness, which is the corporate world. No one really likes to talk about this. especially not professionals like myself. I am a business owner. I have owned a PR and communications business for, 15 years. And it's been a successful business. I'm not smarter than the next person. I work my butt off and I get the job done. I work until the results are there. And I know I produce amazing results for my clients. But in 2016, I believe it was, I came out publicly to media in order to, when I say I came out with my story of substance use challenges. And I did that because I felt as though substance use challenges are hiding out in the corporate world. Like there are manuals, HR manuals that claim that your employer will be there for you and there will be no judgment and you will be supported. But in fact, you will be judged and people may look at you differently. And I can tell you, I don't know how it is today in 2024. I can't speak to that personally, although I can imagine. But in 2017, 2016, when I spoke of it, there were 2 or 3 people in the corporate space who are still very, very active in that space, who started to treat me differently, who were very judgmental towards my challenges. And do I regret going public with that story, with my experiences? No, I do not. I believe that it's a shame that those people have those judgments, can look at me differently after seeing my abilities, knowing that those who struggle with substance use challenges are not doing so by choice and are certainly not having a good time. Although it did hurt me in some ways, and I'm sure it lost me business. But my business rebounded, and I'm now, for years, I've been doing well again. And I think that's because I've just been myself and I've shown my value. And of course, I am healthy and taking care of my family as they take care of me. But there really is this unkindness in the corporate space where if you don't fit the mold, if you are a soft-spoken woman like myself, you often get taken advantage of. I know that some of my former clients have underpaid me for services that I provided, that they've wronged me in the way in which they've treated me while working for them, that the value I've brought to their business has been far beyond what they've paid me for. But those kinds of things are things that I try to learn from. I try to improve my business process. I'm a much better PR and communications and digital media practitioner than I am a business owner. And I've been learning those things as the years go by. But it all comes back to kindness. I know business is business, but we can be incredibly successful and work our butts off. We can work hard. We can make a good income, and we can still be kind, decent people. And I wish that there were more people who really lived by that. There certainly are a good chunk of them, and I'm in Vancouver, and I'm glad for that. I could sit here and name so many from various industries in Vancouver who are fantastic men and women, who are incredibly talented senior leaders, who are amazing people. So I don't want to come across as, painting a brush, but painting the whole space as negative and unkind. But there certainly is that presence of unkindness, and it might seem, small, but it actually isn't, because it's very harmful for those who may be struggling with things behind the scenes. And I see my son, he's in grade 2. We're asking ourselves today, why we have a mental health and substance use crisis. And my son in the 2nd grade was throwing up in a garbage can today because he was so psychologically and emotionally disturbed by his experience of bullying. His mental health, his heart hurt. These little people become bigger and bigger until they are adults. And we see a lot of adults with mental health and substance use challenges. There is very little work being done to prevent substance use challenges. Very little work being done to take care of our young people's minds and hearts before they get to a place where they feel they need to self-medicate, or where they fall into a deep depression or experience traumas. This past year has been full of surprises for me, most that have been unwelcome. But then I look around myself and I see all the many blessings in my life. And I hate to sound corny, but I'm lucky as hell. I have an amazing family. My children are awesome, smart, talented, healthy little creatures. And although there are so many issues I could sit here and talk about, it all comes back to kindness. And I want to embody that Zach Bryan lyric. I want to be loyal to a fault to anyone I find kindness in. Because kindness is more rare than it used to be. It's so important to the children growing up, to those in the corporate space who might feel alone, and to even those senior leaders who think their heart is stone, but they still have a family to go home to every night, and feelings and struggles like everyone else. So let's not make kindness just a stitching in a pillow or a fancy Instagram statement. Let's live by it. Let's be it. Let's look at other people with compassion. Get away from this anger, this division, and come together. Get a little bit closer again. Thanks for listening. And I really look forward to season 3. I have a few amazing guests already set up from various walks of life that I know you're going to just absolutely love hearing from on season 3 of Rachel Thexton Connects. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Have a great night, day, morning, whatever time you're listening. Take care.